In this video, I'd like to discuss architectural signs. Architectural signs product is used for composition type signs, ADA, tactile, interior architectural, really anything that you're putting different processes together with different layers to create a sign. In this video, we'll first discuss adding a first piece, and then the processes on that piece that apply, and then any additional layers that are needed, and the assembly labor to put those layers together. Okay, if we're in control, and we're in a new estimate or new order, under composition architectural signage, you'll see architectural signs. If we open that product, first thing it wants to know is if it's the quantity that are needed, the height and width, the definition, and the definition field is a generic field that you could type in anything you needed, or you could choose something that you've added to a list to keep saved for later. I'm going to say these go on door signs. Then we're going to add our first piece and start putting in the processes that we're trying to create. How many of these per overall quantity? We're just going to do the first layer. The height and width is going to default to the overall height and width, but in case this layer is different, I could adjust that. We'll say this is the back. Then I'm going to say this is just a back plate. Create the back plate first. And the back plate is just going to be what type of sign or what are the processes that are going to apply. Now, these process lists can be changed and edited, and please see the setting up this product video to get more into that. At this point, we'll say that it's going to just be a dimensional signs. Basically, we're going to just cut out a back plate with very little on it. Then what are we making it out of? We'll say we'll create the back plate out of aluminum. And what kind of aluminum? Let's say it's going to be an 040 brushed aluminum. Okay. Now, it's showing us the processes that are defined by dimensional. And what do we want to do with it? Starting as, okay, it's aluminum, so are we going to engrave it? Are we just going to cut it? Are we going to apply vinyl to it? Apply braille to it? What I'm going to say here is what this is going to be is a back plate that's going to have a face on it, a photopolymer, just for our example. And so this is really just going to be blank, but have the just cut out and blank, and then we'll put the photopolymer on top of it. So we're just going to cut it out. We're going to add cutting. What machine are we going to cut it out in? And the complexity of that. Okay, now that we have our first layer, now we're going to add a photopolymer or some type of graphic, etc., and mount it to this backplate. So I'm going to add a new piece. This one's going to be slightly undersized because I want that aluminum to stick out a bit. So I'm just going to say these are going to be 7 by 9s. Still just one per. And this is going to be the faceplate. And it's going to be photopolymer. What type? Is it interior, exterior photopolymer? And then the type of photopolymer we're going to be using. We're going to add photopolymer and the processes. And any description or what is the photopolymer going to be. And we're going to say these are going to be lounge directional signs. And we're going to add a little braille to this as well. We're going to add braille, but it is included in the process. Since photopolymer, we're going to do the braille together. And then what text is going to be used? if you just type in a text, it will come up with what it thinks the Braille is going to look like. You'll also notice what type, and on the right, the quantity each and a total Braille. If this wasn't included in the process and we were going to add it, it's going to need to know what kind of beads we're adding. And it would estimate that time to do that process. Now we have our two pieces in the system. The only thing left, it really is to assemble those together. We have our two that we have not handled. So on the right, under Assembly and Notes, you can add any hardware that's needed. If you need any hardware to assemble these, taps, barrels, etc. Any additional add-ons, miscellaneous, for any additional items you might have to order, etc. that aren't in inventory, and assembly. And here we'll say to mount these, it's going to take about an hour. And we'll say mount faceplate to backplate. And that concludes our initial product for architectural signs. The only thing additional we could do at this point is if we wanted to add this to inventory to sell at a future date, such as you're just going to make 30 of them, and you're going to put them in the inventory and then sell them as finished goods items. In that case, and there's additional videos on this, so I'm not going to get into it here, please view our other videos, is where you can choose the type, the composition inventory, and the item. And if it's in inventory, you can go ahead and add it and how many, and you can add new inventory parts with the new inventory part selection. And then fill in the appropriate information, such as your unit cost per piece on this new part, or price, unit price. This concludes our video of architectural signs. Please view our other videos or contact Implementation for more support. Thank you.